What's going on, guys? Kenny here from 619 Guitars and Gear, and welcome to part 3 of the Eart headless mod project. Well, it's time to get to it. We're going to put this veneer on. I'm a little nervous, but super excited. You can see I got it cut it out a little bit bigger than the body itself, just in case anything decided to move around. There's a little bit of wiggle room, but I don't think it will. I had the veneer taped down to the wax paper. I decided to use a little bit of wax paper in between the veneer and the foam, just so in case any glue decided to drip over, there was some wax paper just so it wouldn't stick to anything else. But you could see the back plate I made, and it came out really good. That was a little piece of veneer I cut out and glued it to the existing back plate, and that came out great. So it was kind of good motivation to start the veneering process, and I got the body all prepped, and what I ended up doing was sanding the clear off the face of the body. I didn't want to sand the whole existing veneer off. I didn't want to create any crazy peaks or valleys, and just really didn't want to mess up the bonding surface too much. So I got the clear off, wiped it down with alcohol, and then once that was done, it was ready to put the glue on. Now, when it came time to gluing it, I was a little skeptical how much glue to actually use. Didn't want to use too much. Some other videos I've seen, the guys have just put a crazy amount of glue on, and at the end they always say they regret how much glue they use, because what ends up happening is the veneer will shift or just have a little bit of a gap or whatnot. But I really think I put a good amount of glue on, nice and even across the whole surface. When I did start the pressing process, it did squeeze out evenly around the whole edge of the body, so that was good too. I also put some powder coating plastic tape around the body, just so the glue wasn't laying right on the masking tape. I just didn't want to have any weird issues where it was just creating a mess when taking the tape off, and I just thought it'd be a little bit easier to have that plastic tape there. Once I got the glue on, that's when the nerves started firing up. And I wasn't really nervous to do it. I was just more nervous because I wanted it to come out really good. I set this whole jig up with the press, and where the bevel is in the body, I was kind of concerned about that, but I came up with something pretty cool, and I thought it was solid enough, and so we went ahead and started it. I taped the body in place a little bit, then we started the pressing process. When I tested the press on a scale, it put easily around 200 pounds of pressure on the scale, and that was with minimal force. So on the bottle of glue, it says between 125 to 250 psi for pressure to gluing the two things together. So I knew I was within that range, so I was safe there. So after we got it pressed down, got all the pressure even, it says 45 minutes to 2 hours wait time for drying. I waited around 5 hours, and it was time to open it up. Definitely was a little nervous to open it up. I didn't know what I was going to find. Definitely, for sure, said a little prayer before opening it up. So once I was done saying my prayer, it was go time. Like I said, I was kind of nervous to open it up. I just didn't know what I was going to find. There's, was it going to be ripped in half? Was it going to be good? Was there going to be a spot? I was a little nervous about that bevel, just because what I had to make, I made a little ramp for that bevel to sit flat against, and it was good. There was really no gap at all, but I was kind of questioning how solid it actually was. But once we got the last board off, I got the flat board off, and it was time to flip it over and look at it. You know what? I was pleasantly surprised at what I saw. Everything was perfectly good. Literally, the whole body was perfect, except where I was questioning, which was the bevel. There ended up being a few wrinkles in the bevel. Nothing that's too crazy. I was thinking about cutting the veneer off right there and having the bevel, sand the bevel down and have it be like the redwood, which is like the rest of the body. But I kind of didn't want to open a can of worms, and honestly, you could barely see it there. Once, I took a little bit of alcohol on a rag and wiped it on there just so I can see the quilted maple pop out, and oh my God, it looks really good. So honestly, once I stain it, sand it down, stain it, fill it with some sanding sealer, and then finish it, I really don't think you're even going to see the wrinkles. And honestly, after a few days of I'm recording this voiceover a few days after I made this video, so even a few days after, you can barely see them. So you can see I got it trimmed out. Obviously in the middle there's a bunch of wrinkles, but that's just where the pickups holes are, so there was nothing underneath that for the veneer to stick to, so it just wrinkled up. But we're going to get that cut out here in a second. I trimmed around the body and the neck pocket, and that came out great. No problems there. And honestly, the more I cut, the more excited I got. I was kind of really impressed with the whole thing. I knew it would come out okay, but I was kind of questioning how good it would come out. And it really ended up coming out really, really well, besides the whole wrinkles. But I'm going to look past that because honestly, you can barely see them. And like I said, by the time I sand and finish, this is like before I really sanded it, but by the time I sand it and stain it and then fill it with sanding sealer, I really don't think those wrinkles are going to be there too much. You can barely feel them with your hand. Yeah, you can see them there, but it's my first veneer. I think it came out great. Was a little discouraged at first when I saw the wrinkles, but I didn't let it bother me too much. And after a really good amount of sanding, we got it done. I didn't want to drill any of the holes for the knobs or anything yet. I'm going to keep that for part 4. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep where the existing switch was. It was a flat blade switch. I'm going to keep that covered. And I'm not going to put the switch back there. I'm going to drill out where the tone was, and I'm going to put the volume where the tone knob was, and then put a round style 3-way switch where the volume knob was. I like having my switch closer to me, and I don't use the tone knob, so I figured just having a volume and a switch would be perfect. Once my volume's up, I don't really touch it until I'm done playing, so I'll have the volume where the tone knob was, and then have my 3-way switch a little bit closer to me. I made sure I wouldn't hit it with my hand or anything, and it seems like it's going to be in a good place, so keep that for part 4. I can't wait to get that done. Let me know. Color-wise, I think I want to keep it natural, maybe just darken it up a little bit with a honey-colored stain so the grain really pops out. Obviously, it's flat and dry now, so you're not going to see any of the quilted maple grain really. But once I throw some stain on there and some finish, it's really going to pop out, and it's really going to look good. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss part 4. Hit the notification bell so you're notified when that comes out. And leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what color you would do. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you later.